everyone, and welcome back to another wild camping video on the channel. I've got a couple of free days during the week, so I've decided to come walk about here up the Galloway Forest Park. It's the 3rd of March, so we've just come out of the end of all the bad weather. There's a couple of days of relatively still weather on the horizon, so I've packed all my gear in the backpack and headed on up this way. I've left the hammock at home today, so I'm just gonna put a tarp shelter up and sleep in the bivvy. I've got a new sleeping bag. I bought myself a Rab Ascent 700 down bag, so I want to give that a go. I think it's going to get down to about 1-2 degrees tonight, so not too cold, but be able to test it out. So yeah, the weather looks alright at the moment, but I'm going to crack on and get this tarp up and then look for some firewood. I think I bought a new fire grill from TJM Metalworks, so I'm itching to give that a go as well, so I'm all excited. I'm going to get this tarp up. Well folks, just managed to get the tarp up. Bit of an awkward configuration, mind, but it's because the ground's a bit uneven and the trees are really far apart from each other. But it'll do. I originally was going to pitch with the back towards the loch, because that's the direction the wind was coming in. But as I was cracking on with that, I could feel the wind turning. And it was coming from behind me, so I've put it this way. And I've got a lovely view of the loch for this evening. But I just hope the wind doesn't pick up. I checked the weather before I left, and it was due to be blustery during the day, but then it calmed right down at night. So hopefully, I mean, I've got the bivvy bag over my sleeping bag. I've got all my sleeping gear out now, so it's, just so I'm ready. I'm going to try and find some firewood, I think. I've got a steak that I wanted to cook over the fire tonight, but not sure how that's going to work out. Obviously we're in March, early March in Scotland. It's raining, all the wood's soaking wet, the ground's soaking wet, but we'll see how we get on. So I'm just going to head off now and get some firewood. Just brought the Laplander saw with me for this trip, and my Mora bushcraft knife, which I picked up at the end of last year when we passed through Mora. I've been leaving the axe at home recently, A, because it's heavy, and B, because I always find it difficult to split wood if you don't have a firm surface. Now most tree trunks around here, if you try and chop wood on it, they just explode because they're so damp. So I've just found it easier to look for smaller branches, saw them with the Laplander, and then batten them with a knife. So you save the weight of your axe in your pack. So I got a new poncho. I bought this for my recent trip up to Glenafric. I bought one for Trish as well. She looks crazy in it because she's only like 5 foot tall. Just like swallows her up. But it's a Helicon Tex poncho, surplus line, one size fits all, 100% polyester. And the reason why I chose a poncho for this type of stuff is that you can sling it over your backpack as well. I found recently when I've been out and about with my Gore-Tex stuff that it starts raining, so you've got to take your backpack off for a start, open it up, get your rain gear out, put your over trousers on, put your Gore-Tex jacket on, get your backpack on after you've put the cover on your backpack, and by the time you've done that you're soaking wet. So I thought for these low level walks when you're coming out into the woods, a poncho just makes much more sense to me, and I've used it a couple of times now. Once when it was raining when I had my backpack on. Now if you've noticed me with my Kiker backpack, it's quite high. I mean, because I usually put so much crap in it, so it does end up lifting the back of the poncho up quite a bit, but as long as the wind isn't driving behind you too much, then it's not too much of a big deal. So you can keep your pack dry, your body dry, and most of your legs, as long as your trousers are relatively water repellent. I've got the Vida Pro on at the minute, and I've given them a good waxing, so I'm quite happy for them to get a little bit damp. So yeah, they seem to work well. I'll just give you a bit of a look at it actually. It's got poppers down the side there. Now another advantage of the poncho I thought was I don't have waterproof gloves, and when you're hiking, I mean, even if you buy waterproof ones, I find they get wet eventually, and if you don't really want to use your poles, I figured that you can just put your hands inside with your gloves on. I mean, I guess you could use walking poles as well without getting your gloves wet. Yeah, so that's another plus point I thought. So yeah, this has got a nice hood with a drawstring here. Get that nice and tight. If you get a couple of them, you can join them together as well and use them as an emergency tarp shelter or a ground sheet or whatever. I mean, it's a poncho, isn't it? I wouldn't wear one around town like, but there's no one here. So they're actually really handy. I'm surprised more people don't use them, to be honest. But I guess if you're up on the fells or anywhere where you're going to get blasted with wind and rain, I think they'll probably be quite. They just flap around, I guess. But for this environment, I don't think you can beat them. Anyway, back to the firewood. Well folks, it's going to get dark soon, and I probably won't put the fire on until the sun sets at about 6 o'clock I think. So I wanted to show you the mini fire grill that I bought from TJM Metalworks. It comes in 4 pieces. You've got the grill here, and you've got a nice hook arm there to hang your kettle or your pots on. And then you get a ground stake here, which comes in 2 parts. I'll just put it together to show you how long it is. It's I would say probably something about maybe 70 centimeters long, perhaps 60 or 70. It's got a little notch cut out there, so when you put it into that bit there and turn it, it kind of locks in to keep it still. So I'm just going to stake it in the ground and I'll give you a look at it. So once you've got that bit in there, you just slide that on there, so it moves up and down easy enough. And once your steak's done or whatever, you can swing it away. And it's the same principle with the hook. So once your water's boiled, you can just kind of move that away, or you can have them both over the fire like that. So I'm quite pleased with it actually. I love stuff like this, handmade gear. Well folks, I've had the fire on now for about probably about an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and a half. As you can see, it's not doing very well. I did bring in a small amount of dry wood with me, but everything around here is so damp that I'm really struggling, but I'm going to persevere because I want to use this little fire grill. So I'm just going to whack my steak on now, and hopefully it might end up being rare, but hopefully it should come out alright. So I'm just going to get a bit of pepper on there, and a bit of salt. That is looking good. Just a touch of turmeric, it's good for you, and a splash of smoked paprika. No, that was turmeric again. That's paprika. And then a pinch of mixed herbs, and that'll be good to go, I think. Morning guys, that was another great wild camp. Slept like a baby. I woke up at about 7 o'clock this morning to the sound of woodpeckers. Don't know if the mic's picking it up in the background there. But yeah, it was a peaceful night. The wind died down completely and the lake's mirror flat this morning. But the Rab sleeping bag, so it's the Rab Ascent 700 downfilled bag. Oh man, that is so warm. Yeah, that kept us comfortably warm all night. I think it got down to about 1 or 2 degrees. Just before I went to bed it was snowing a little bit. But nothing seems to have frozen in the morning, so I don't think it got below freezing. But yeah, I was having a bit of trouble with the DD sleeping bag. I got the extra large one, which I think was a mistake, because obviously there's more air to kind of heat up, and I was starting to feel the chill a little bit in it. But saying that, I have been using it in sub-zero conditions. Yeah, so that's one new piece of kit that I'm quite pleased with, and it shaves pretty much 1 kilogram off the weight of the DD, which you can definitely feel that in the pack. Yeah, the TJM Metalworks fire grill, that worked brilliantly, even though my fire was a bit of a disappointment last night. It's just so damp around here, the wood just wasn't catching at all. But I managed to cook the steak. I just got some twigs on at the end and kind of flame cooked it, so it was alright. Yeah. Well folks, that's me all packed up. I've taken all my rubbish out with me. I've cleaned the fire pit up. So in keeping with the leave no trace philosophy, I've just left the campsite exactly how I found it. Yeah, I'm just going to march back to the car now. Well folks, that's me all packed up. Just going to start the engine up, warm the car for a bit, and head on home. So as ever, I'd just like to say thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you again in the next one.